my grandfather, who is still with us in his late 90s.
Gosh.
And he flew with Bomber Command in World War II. And as you can expect, has very vivid memories of the tragedy of war.
Yes.
And we were discussing in the run-up to the referendum, I probably emotionally lent towards leave, but my head was trying to rule my heart.
Sure.
And he just turned around to me and goes, Simon, you've never fought a war. You don't know the loss and the tragedy associated with your friends, your family, and even worse for him, being a committed pacifist, inflicting that loss, although he felt that it was right and it was a just war, given what he was up against.
Yes.
And he still, with tears in his eyes, goes, well, he knows that, well, he says, I'm approaching the end of my days, and I'm hearing voices and hearing things said in my country that I thought we'd seen the back of in 1945. And he is so upset by this. And he also feels a bit betrayed by the Labour Party and its refusal to stand up
I'm not surprised.
and be counted on this issue.
Yes.
He kind of turned around and said, I thought I was leaving the world a better place than I left it, and I'm not so sure now.
Oh.
So I don't know when I entered it. And it must be it is quite troubling for him. I wish we could get him on the phone, because the emotion in his voice when he was saying it was really, really quite persuasive.
I'm sure.
And I look at Mark Francois as a very good example, this Territorial Army Commission, saying, we are...
Well, he's an interesting character, because he talks about his stepfather fighting the Germans, and there's no way he's going to let the Germans beat us. So, I mean, there is, in a nutshell, if anyone thought I was exaggerating when I talked about this ludicrous worldview that's crippling our country and making us an international laughingstock, along comes Mark Francois to underline it for us and get out his highlighter pen. But his mother, I looked into Mark Francois, his mother is Italian. So, I mean, they were on the other side during the Second World War. So he's actually an example. He's a living, waddling example of European Union.
And that's the key point.
Two parents who were on opposing sides in a war somehow managed to create a child, or raise a child, who argues that the war is still being fought.
To me, that raises the question, what were we fighting against? We weren't fighting against people or another country. We were fighting against an ideology.
Yes, of course.
Which disappeared with peace. And
you have to point out, it's an ideology that's kept alive by the AFD, and we send people like Farage to address the AFD. Arguably, he's more popular here with his new vanity project than the AFD actually is in Germany. So while I would like to affectionately and respectfully poo-poo your grandfather's fears, I think in the context of what I've just remembered and just said, I can't, actually.